Hoo-ha, too-ha!
Hello, my name is Bing, and this is Hoo-Ha's Heroes of Animation, where we investigate success stories from all over the varied landscape of digital animation. This week I'm meeting David Firth, the mastermind behind the incredibly surreal Spoilsbury Toast Boy, Burnt Face Man, and the hugely popular Salad Fingers. David's animations have amassed over 96 million views on YouTube alone, and his repertoire of weird and wonderful characters have caused all kinds of emotional reactions.
I think David Firth is kind of like a traumatic experience.
David Firth seems to have this innate ability to kind of reach into your brain and pull out nightmares that you didn't even know you had.
He's a genuinely scary, intense, worrying man.
Sometimes you kind of watch one of his videos like Dog of Man, and then you forget about it for a while. Like, I don't know, your brain suppresses the memory of it. You'd be halfway through a conversation, you remember it and go, oh God.
We found it disturbing, we couldn't keep our eyes off it. And then we just got addicted to it and we watched all of it. And it's just brilliant. I love Salad Fingers. And we were all doing impressions.
I'm sure he's a very nice man, but the way that he, his animations are genuinely quite disturbing.
I like rusty spoons.
David's work has featured on the BBC with his hit series Drill Bit Head and Jerry Jackson, as well as being part of Charlie Brooker's Screen Wipe. In 2005, the San Francisco Chronicle named Salad Fingers one of the top 10 cultural phenomena of the year. But is he as strange and creepy as his animations would lead you to believe? I got a message from David telling me to meet him here. But it doesn't look right.
Hello, Bing. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay.
Yeah? You found the place okay?
Yeah. What? Why are we in this building?
Oh, this building's very inspirational for me. You know, I like to sit here and soak up the atmosphere, and it really helps me with my films. It helps me come up with ideas.
Cool.
Yeah. Right. Well, do you want me to show you around?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. To someone who hasn't seen my work, I would describe them as strange, dark, surreal comedy cartoons. Some of them have a dreamlike feel, some of them have a nightmare-like feel, some of them are satirical, some of them are silly, but most of them are strange. I find to create a more atmospheric effect with my cartoons, I like to go out and photograph textures of things and incorporate those in. This room in particular were made into rooms in SOC 5. And I just find there's something really interesting about the way the whole building's just decayed. Some of it naturally and some of it due to fires and vandalism, but I think it all comes together and it's got a really just sort of eerie feel to it. If I've got a scene that's being filmed in the woods, I'll go into the woods and try and write something from there. I still find it's much better to take your own photos of places, so then you know it's an absolutely 100% original texture. I always liked art. I used to draw really crappy comics when I was a kid, but they were kind of like the Beano, those sort of style comics. And they usually had an element of gore or feces in them, so it was like a horse pooing on a chicken or an action man pooing on another action man. And there's a lot of blood and guts and stuff like that. But when I came to drawing stuff on a computer, I had to use a mouse. And at first it was a ball mouse, so it's really hard to draw stuff with. And even the first few episodes of Salad Fingers were drawn with a mouse. It wasn't until much later when I got a graphics tablet and a pen that I started to develop my drawing style and try and make it a bit more, visually interesting.
This place is so cool.
I think we've definitely improved it.
Yeah, absolutely. We've spruced this place up a bit. It's nice. But you wouldn't want to live here.
No, of course not.
Can we see where you animate?
Yeah, let's go to my house. I'm sick of this place.
So this is where it all happens.
Yeah, this is where it all takes place.
Can you talk me through this side of the room?
These are just doodles and stuff. There might be some ideas for cartoons in there, so there's a little bit of storyboard there, but I don't think that was ever made into anything. I just stick stuff on my wall if it's not finished, and then I can look at it and continue it. If I find myself actually flicking through the TV channels, I usually cannot believe how bad the majority of TV's gotten, and it almost instantly inspires me just to react to it somehow. So that's usually where my satirical elements come from.
If you'd like to call in, please call this number. If you wouldn't like to call in, please call this number. If you're unsure, please text not sure space. That's space the word followed by a space to any of the following numbers.
Because it should be really my choice whether I want to see something, but if I see 10 posters in a row of Bruno Mars's latest album, I'm just, by the ninth one, I'm usually seething. So I just can't help but try and write something just to vent my anger. And if that makes it into a cartoon, then why not?
This is the song I made. This is the song I made.
Could you talk me through this shelf over here?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I don't think there's much in that, but I just like to get books and modify them a little bit.
The best of country music.
Robotified him.
What's this one here?
That's a book of ideas and storyboards for my feature-length cartoon, The Meadowman, that I'm working on. The Meadowman is a really, really, really long cartoon that I've written. If that ever gets finished, hopefully it will, then it'll be the best thing I've ever done. But right now it's been very much almost halted for a long time. I've taken photos and I've set out scenes and I've even recorded some dialogue, but still, every time I approach it, it changes in every way. It's a big mess of a project that may never be finished, but hopefully will.
What's it about? Picture to me.
The story of a man that doesn't really understand his job or his life, and he kind of gets lost a little bit, and that's probably as much as I can tell you. Initially, apart from my friends watching it, I don't think anyone else was watching my stuff because I never got an email or a comment or anything until I made Salad Fingers, and then I put that on Newgrounds and it got on the front page. And after that, you know, I went from 100 hits a day to 10,000 hits a day, literally overnight. I created as many cartoons as I could just so that I would keep a hold of this audience and hopefully it would build, and it did. In about 2006, Charlie Brooker contacted me and said he wanted to get me involved in his Screen Wipe show. So I did about eight short animations for him. Later on, the BBC asked me to make some cartoons for their website, and I said the only thing I've really got time to do is Jerry Jackson. So I did a series of those for them. I think it was interesting that Jerry Jackson went from a cartoon that was originally booted off of Newgrounds for being too bad to eventually being picked up and commissioned by the BBC for their website. I thought that was an interesting eventuality for Jerry Jackson.
In between the life and the death is living. That is what my brother says. And he is a born-again Christmas.
He's all about the teenager that should probably keep his mouth shut, but, you know, says everything he's thinking, whether it's wrong or right. It is based on one specific person that used to follow me around the internet and email me, but it was always badly spelt and it was always quite funny. So I just kind of based it on him. But at the same time, it was based on people that made their own parodies of Salad Fingers.
Who's Charles Pipe?
Oh, he's the lead character of a series that I'm working on at the moment. He's addicted to a drug which he takes using wasps. I kind of got bored of doing things that followed a linear plot line. Instead of being inspired by other TV shows and films and things, I tried to take more inspiration from dreams and the way they flow into each other, where there's no explanation as to what's going on, you just accept it. I try my best to convey that in a cartoon, and sometimes it comes out, you know, just looking like a load of nonsense put together, but sometimes when I get it right, I feel it comes across just as my dreams come across. I take these to cafes and bars and things so I can write when I've got nothing to do there, and also I'm always keeping them next to my bed when I'm sleeping, so I can wake up and write a dream down or write something down early in the morning. My favourite characters are some of the ones that I probably don't even fully understand. like the Jonathan from the black and white cartoons. I don't even really know what's going on in his head as much as the audience doesn't know. That's Ren and Stimpy there, a very sort of sick, vulgar children's cartoon from the 90s.
Twilight Zone?
Oh yeah, the 50s Twilight Zone episodes. These are really inspirational for me. They really just turn the world inside out and then sort of back again. I'm a big fan of this. Apart from that, I like the Granny from Spalsbury Toast Boy. I think my friend Christian did the voice and he did a really good job. And she's just completely brain dead, but just enough intelligence to speak, and that's about it.
Damn, I wanted to give you a big kiss.
Also like the Beetle Doctors. I think they've got a very suave sort of manner about them, and I like the way they're always joking with each other.
Beatles are good at this sort of thing, don't you know?
The two cartoons I made when I was in art college, and we'd sit in my room for hours and hours and hours making these little clay animations, and one of them was Hell, and one of them was Drums. And the Drums one was a music video for a friend of ours at college. Hell was an attempt to make the most disgusting, gory cartoon we possibly could, just using clay. More recently, I did a cartoon called Crooked Rot, which was a sequel to Hell in a way. I sent the video away to a friend of mine who's a composer called Marcus Fjellström, and he composed the soundtrack to the visuals. So it almost felt like it gave it a narrative when it came together with the soundtrack.
You got a lot of records lying around. Can you talk me through some of these?
Yeah, well, I think there's Boards of Canada are that's the soundtrack to Salad Fingers, not this specific one, but that music in the background from a lot of the episodes is by Boards of Canada. It was just a little interlude on one of their albums. FX Twin is the musician that made the Milkman song, which I provided the animation for. I've had death threats, but I mean, it's the internet, so you can't really take those things seriously. I kind of enjoy seeing negative comments now. For some reason, I just feel like I've got under people's skin, and it's kind of a positive thing for me.
I don't think David Firth probably takes it too far. There is a kind of odd method to the madness.
I think David Firth is very funny, but sometimes can just kind of U-turn a bit, even for a moment, and go, here's something a bit more serious, and then flip it back on track. And I think that's kind of special to do with David Firth, that he's able to do something like that.
The vast majority of the feedback I've received has been overwhelmingly positive. I think my grandma is a fan of Salad Fingers, so it's good that I have a family like that.
You seem to be a vinyl person.
I hate CDs. I just really don't like CDs. The artwork seems to matter on a vinyl because it's big, isn't it? You know, you just get to look at it. It's not this tiny little pokey little thing. You know, I'd prefer it if they were that big.
Yeah.
You know, your vinyls were like huge things. You could look at the artwork really close. I found these records in this building. That one's a classical one, and this is some 70s pop. But mainly what I found them, I'm going to take them with me because they've covered in dirt. And if I play this through my record player and record it, I can create some really interesting sound textures. And if you notice, the music on Salad Fingers is all scratchy and kind of old sounding, and that's come from this sort of thing.
We're going to make some nightmare music. Crackle. Gorgeous.
I compose a lot of the music in my animation myself. I don't know if compose is the word. A lot of the times it's just an experiment with sound. I'll find or record a sound that's very much monotone, and then once it's on my computer I'll play with it and make it into some kind of eerie sort of atmospheric track. It's creating an atmosphere rather than melodies and something you can whistle to. But at the same time I do create music that's got melodies and beats, and I call that Locust Toy Box. And that combines the ambient with the sort of happy electro pop sort of sound, and I use as many instruments as I can. I find that anything that I record myself gives it a more sort of human feel rather than it being robotic, completely robotic computer music.
So you record all your sound and voices here as well?
Yeah.
You be burnt face man.
All right. Silence, mumbling boy!
Burnt face man, no way.
Not now, mumbling boy, we've got crime to fight.
But there is a very serious situation happening in the laundry room.
Do I need to put you back in your box? Burnt Face Man's a series about a completely useless superhero. He's got a disfigured face, and for some reason he decided that would be his reason to fight crime. He seems to have some powers, but none of them seem to be any use to anyone.
Burnt Face Man had a box of matches and was able to set his bloodstream on fire and burn the AIDS. He also gained the power of having really hot blood for a few minutes, but it wasn't put to any use.
And because of his history of failures and, you know, not actually solving any problems but causing more problems than he solves, he's got a really bad reputation about the town that he seems to still make the effort to save the people of whenever they're in need.
Is it a bird?
Aye, a bird it be. Painless! I need not 2 legs to destroy crime.
I do the majority of the voices myself, but if I've got too many characters going, I will get other people in. I have a female voice actor on hand, my friend Christian, he does many voices. Let's go and fight crime! Mumbling boy. I will record my voices 50 times before I'm happy with them, and I'd only be happy with someone else's voices if I recorded them 50 times. To save a lot of hassle and to get them just exactly how I hear them in my head, I usually do them myself. But I prefer to hear other people's voices on my cartoon because I can watch back a cartoon that's got other people's voices on it more willingly than I can watch one that's just got my own on, because then I'm just listening to me talk, and I listen to me talk all the time.
So can you talk me through your tech setup over here?
Yeah, it's pretty simple. Cheap PC, graphics tablet, and I just draw straight into the computer like this.
So when you're starting a new project, what are your first ports of call?
I start with a hand-drawn sketch that's very quick on paper as I'm trying to think of it. And then when I've got basically what I want to do, I go onto my computer and I sort of refine it and draw it how much I want it to look.
I don't recognise this scene. Is this from something that's coming out soon?
Yeah, this is from a new episode of Salad Fingers, which I'm working on at the moment. And I don't really have many details to go into, but it's called Birthday. There's definitely a depth that I've gone into more than any other character with Salad Fingers. He's probably the most developed of all the characters I've ever done. I think there's probably more aspects to his personality than my other characters, so that you can't just say, oh, he's schizophrenic or he's traumatised from some past event. I like to make him in some ways inconsistent so that you don't guess what he's going to do next.
Somewhere over the rainbow, skies are blue.
The Salad Finger series is so bizarre. It's like some horrible atrocity, but you can't help watching it. You want to see more. It's like a nightmare that you kind of want to see through to the end.
You can't look away from it, even though it's unsettling you to your very core.
It was frightfully rude of you blokes to leave for the Great War without me. Come inside and we'll fix you a nice hot bath.
It was just like an in-joke, really. I was playing the guitar one day, I was playing a C chord, and my friend Christian said, "You've got salad fingers." And I said, I want to make a cartoon called Salad Fingers. And we just discussed what should happen. And the overall thought was, he should look for spoons.
I must find the perfect spoon.
The first 4 or 5 I did really quickly, I really raced through them. And then after that, I decided I was rushing them too much, so I'd take a little bit more time to make each one.
Good old Auntie Bainbridge has agreed to take care of you whilst Daddy is enfeebled.
This episode of Salad Fingers is probably going to take me 2 or 3 months to do, but the first episode I did took 1 day and 1 night, and then everything has increased. It's taken longer to do each one. Maybe in future episodes it'll take 2 or 3 years to do, because every time they seem to take longer than the previous one.
Salad Fingers was very much a kind of sitting around in ICT in kind of in late GCSE period.
Like some people would watch that and be completely creeped out, and some people would laugh forever, like at Salad Fingers. And I think it's amazing that he can find that balance.
I think part of me would love to see some more Salad Fingers, but there's still a terrified child inside me that says, please no more.
Nay, nay, you're all ready for the big race.
This is the first toy that I've ever had any part in making. There was a company that approached me and asked me if they could make a toy of Salad Fingers. I think it's going to be in some kind of toy shop. I'm really happy with the way it looks. The texture, the feel of it, the expression, yeah, it really works for me.
So this is the Salad Fingers book?
Yeah, this is the Salad Almanac here. I used this one specifically for writing Salad Fingers notes. They're not full episodes, they're just bullet points with ideas written. Out of all of my work, I'm probably most proud of the Salad Fingers series as a whole. The fact that people look into them with such depth and, you know, and analyse them on every level, it really kind of excites me that people are that into one of my series, so it's probably Salad Fingers in that regard.
So you're working on Salad Fingers right now, but do you have other things in the pipeline? Like where are you going future-wise?
I've started a number of projects. It's going to take me a long time to finish them all, but I've got about 5 or 6 different things going on all at once now, most of which don't really have titles at the moment, so I've got a lot of things to be going on with. Bigger works that I've written but I haven't managed to get into animated form yet is probably my best work. My feature-length film and the series that I've almost entirely written. I think once that's done, that'll be the thing that I'm the most proud of.
This has been absolutely eye-opening and very, very interesting. Thank you very much for having me.
Thanks for being here.
No worries. I'll let you get back to your too many projects.
Yeah, cheers. See you later.
So that was David Firth, and I hope you enjoyed this insight into his work just as much as I did. Turns out he's just a really nice guy. But now I've got to get back on the road. Next episode, we're talking to Tom Scar and the rest of the team who make Ed's World. So make sure you subscribe to Hoo Ha for every episode of Heroes of Animation. And if you've missed any of the amazing people that we've talked to so far, click here for Mr. Weevil and click here for Lee Hardcastle. My name is Bing, and I'll see you next time.